Well, we can see that China is trying to move itself from being the world's current manufacturing hub, a fairly dirty economy, into becoming a more service and innovation-based economy. What does that mean? Well, in 20 years, we can expect it to be a much more leaner, cleaner, and efficient economy going forwards, perhaps not growing as fast as it used to, but nevertheless still growing at a steady pace. What does that mean for its relationship with Africa? Well, China's relationship with Africa has been moving steadily, consistently. Chinese investors have been going to African countries, Chinese tourists being going there. There's been a lot of loans from China which have been taken out by African governments to support infrastructure development. A great deal of trade. China's been Africa's largest bilateral trade partner since 2009. But in terms of what might happen in future, well, if China is the world's current manufacturing hub, the African Agenda 2063, which was created in 2015, sees Africa as the world's next manufacturing hub. And in this sense, there is a real opportunity for the relationship between China and Africa to really deepen and become the propelling force for seeing that vision as a reality. What will that mean? It means that there needs to be a great deal of foreign direct investment, factories moving from China to African countries, but at the same time, those factories need to be making sure that they're greener, more environmentally friendly, and making sure that they're using, for instance, renewable energy in order to at the same time as creating jobs and sustainable employment in the African economies. The African population is set to double over the next 30 years. That's going to be a useful means for these Chinese factories to utilize that labor at the same time as improving their own efficiency. What does it also mean in terms of other parts of the relationship? Well, that also means that trade, for example, needs to be increasing between China and Africa. If those factories are producing in African countries, well, they need to be selling not just to US and the Europe and African internal markets, they also need to be selling back into China. They need to be selling those manufactured goods back into China. So opening up trade channels, not just for exports from China, but also for the imports from African countries into China also needs to be dealt with. And we see some really interesting examples of how that's happening right now, but we need to continuously improve that and do much more to push value-added goods from Africa into China. What can organizations like the Center for African Studies at the University of Johannesburg do to accelerate this process? Well, first of all, by helping different stakeholders understand what's happening in China, at the same time as also helping them understand what are the opportunities for collaboration, what are the areas for African governments, for African businesses to be pushing in their agenda with Chinese stakeholders. These are important areas that an organization like the Center for African Studies, a think tank, they can do research on and help people understand the context for what is happening in China, understand the context for that partnership, potential partnership with Africa, and where those areas can be improved on going forwards. They can help in exchanging that experience, create dialogue in order for these actions, which need to be happening really fast, much faster than even the pace that China itself grew and helped people lift themselves out of poverty. That process needs to be even faster here in Africa. And unless we have organizations really focused on this and really pushing for the strategic relationship to be taken to an even stronger level, that pace will not happen. We have a really one-time opportunity to make it happen, and I think organizations like the Center for Africa Studies at the University of Johannesburg are really crucial to that.